you are going to pay back more than double what you borrowed. On a standard 30-year mortgage, that is not a warning, it is the math. And almost nobody talks about it. Here is what most first-time homebuyers experience. You borrow $400,000. The bank hands you documents, you sign, and 30 years later, the bank has collected nearly $800,000 from you. Maybe more. The question nobody asks at the closing table is, where did that other $400,000 go? The answer is hidden in plain sight inside a document called an amortization schedule. And understanding it is the difference between a mortgage that costs you $100,000 extra and one that does not. Chapter 1. The amortization secret most banks never explain. When you take out a 30-year mortgage at 6% interest on a $400,000 loan, your monthly payment is roughly $2,400. Sounds manageable. But here's what the bank does not lead with. In your very first payment, only about $400 goes toward the actual loan. The other $2,000? Pure interest. Gone. You own exactly $400 more of your home than you did last month. The reason is something called front-loaded amortization. Mortgage loans are designed so that lenders collect the majority of their interest profit in the early years. In year one, nearly 90% of every payment is interest. By year 15, you have paid faithfully for 15 years, and you still owe more than half the original loan. It is not a scam, it is math. But it is math that works heavily in the bank's favor, unless you know how to use it against them. The key insight is this. Every dollar of extra principal you pay in the first 10 years of a mortgage saves you somewhere between $3 and $5 over the life of the loan, because you are eliminating future interest before it ever accrues. Chapter 2. The true cost of interest and why the rate matters more than the price. Here is a question most homebuyers get wrong. Which is the better deal? A $300,000 home with a 7% interest rate, or a $330,000 home with a 5% rate? The cheaper house costs more. A $30,000 discount on the purchase price of a home saves you $30,000. But dropping your interest rate by 2 percentage points on a $300,000 loan saves you $120,000 over the life of that loan. The rate is almost always more important than the price. This is why real estate agents who tell you to just find your dream home and worry about the rate later are giving you advice that can cost you 6 figures. When interest rates rise from 4 to 7%, as they did between 2021 and 2023, the effective cost of a home increases by over 50%, even when prices stay flat. That is the hidden inflation of housing that most reporting never quantifies. Understanding this changes how you negotiate everything: the home price, the down payment, and especially when you choose to buy versus wait. Chapter 3. Refinancing, when it actually saves you money and when it does not. Refinancing is one of the most powerful financial moves available to homeowners and one of the most frequently misunderstood. The popular rule of thumb, refinance when you can drop your rate by 1%, is oversimplified to the point of being wrong in many cases. The real question is, what is your break-even timeline? Here is the math. If refinancing costs you $5,000 in closing costs and it saves you $200 per month, you break even in 25 months. If you plan to stay in the home for at least 3 years after refinancing, you come out ahead. But if you move in 2 years, you lost money on the refi. There is another critical mistake homeowners make. They refinance from a 20-year-old 30-year mortgage into a new 30-year mortgage. On the surface, they lower their rate and their payment. But they have just reset the amortization clock. They are back to paying mostly interest again. They may have saved $200 a month, but they have added a decade of payments. The right move, when financially feasible, is to refinance into a shorter loan term. A 15-year mortgage at a lower rate often results in a similar monthly payment to your original 30-year loan, but you build equity twice as fast and pay a fraction of the total interest. Chapter 4. The Biweekly Payment Trick, a simple strategy that eliminates 4 to 6 years of payments at zero cost. This is one of the most underutilized strategies in personal finance, and it requires no refinancing, no extra income, and no sacrifice. Here's how it works. Instead of making 12 monthly mortgage payments per year, you make 26 half payments. The math behind this is simple. 26 half payments equal 13 full payments. You have made one extra monthly payment per year without it feeling like one. On a $400,000 mortgage at 6%, this single change shaves 4 years and 7 months off your 30-year term and saves you over $62,000 in interest. The additional power move: pair biweekly payments with even modest extra principal payments each month. Adding just $200 per month in extra principal to that same loan saves an additional $48,000 and cuts another 5 years off your term. Combined, you have effectively turned a 30-year mortgage into a 20-year mortgage with only discipline. No refinancing, no new loan fees, no financial sacrifice beyond consistency. Chapter 5. APR versus interest rate: what lenders show you and what they hide. When you shop for a mortgage, every lender leads with the interest rate, but the interest rate is not the full cost of your loan. The annual percentage rate, APR, is. APR includes the interest rate plus origination fees, mortgage points, broker fees, and certain closing costs, all expressed as a single annualized percentage. A loan advertised at 6% with high origination fees might have an APR of 6.4%. A loan at 6.25% with no points could have an APR of 6.3%. The second loan is actually cheaper. Always compare APR when evaluating loan offers. It is the only number that accounts for the total cost of borrowing. And when a lender offers to buy down your rate with points, run this calculation. Divide the upfront cost of the points by your monthly savings to find your break-even month. If you will move or refinance before break-even, buying points is a guaranteed loss. Here's what all of this means for you. The mortgage system is built to generate maximum interest revenue for lenders. That is not inherently predatory. That is business. But the homeowners who understand amortization, who know how to calculate a refinancing break-even, who deploy biweekly payments, and who compare APR instead of rate, those homeowners systematically pay tens of thousands less over their lifetime. The information has always been there, in the documents you signed. Now you know how to read it. If this taught you something, subscribe to the Loan Desk. We cover the math of mortgages, refinancing, and loans so you keep more of what you earn.